you are one of the candidates that recently signed the peace accord. But my question now is, how significant is this document that you and other presidential candidates signed? How is it binding on you to ensure that indeed there is decorum in the political space in the build-up to the election?
Yeah, it's very important that candidates running for political office come together to agree to the terms of engagement when it comes to election. Yeah. You know, we've seen in time past how election is being conducted and how candidates conduct themselves in violating electoral rules and guidelines. So signing a peace accord, you know, right from the presidency down to every candidate that is vying for political, it's a sign of commitment to the legal framework for Nigerian electoral processes. It's a commitment to show that, yes, you are ready to go through the process the way it ought to go through. You are ready to accept the outcome of the results. You are ready to do everything in line with the electoral laws. And that to a large extent shows that candidates should be responsible for their action. Candidates will be held responsible, not just for their action alone, even for action of those that are supporting them. They should be accountable to ensuring that those supporting them are also tamed to ensuring that, you know, there is no violation on any, you know, down from the social media to the reality. You know, we already see what is happening on the social media, and words like harsh words, insultive words, you know, there shouldn't be war because we are trying to run a nation. If we say that we want to solve the problem of Nigeria, then we should exhibit such attitude. We should be able to control those who support us, to making them know that we should engage in issue-based discussion rather than attacking personality because you want to get a vote.
You are taking a shot at the top job, the highest job in the country. And it's not an easy job. They say on easy lies the head that wears the crown. We have seen how President Muhammadu Buhari has been under immense pressure in running the affairs of the country. What has prepared you for this job if you get elected?
Yeah, you know, for me, I've been more like a social entrepreneur. I've been out there for the past 15 years, with or without politics. I've been impacting my world. I've been impacting Nigerians every look and cranny. The small of the structures that we have developed are from the charity we've been doing, from education down to women's support to rural electrification. I've been doing that privately to tune of empowering thousands of people.
JPTS.
Yes, that is the scholarship platform. So what we do is, for the past 15 years, is to identify economic challenges and see how we can privately solve them. And that today I've galvanized into a very huge potentiality for us, and I think that is the experience that is needed. Many persons would ask that you don't have experience for government, but we need to have experience for the people, you know, because it is the people that we are going to be governed, not, you know, this is the people, so we must be people-oriented. Yeah. So for me, I'm a people-oriented personality, and that's more of what we are bringing in. And apart from that, value and passion. We have gotten to a stage where we need a leader that has value, who will not just speak it, who have demonstrated it in service. That is what we are going to bring in.
Yeah. You know, talking about the people, you and some other candidates we've seen going around visiting former leaders of the country. We have also seen pictures of you and former President Olusegun Obasanjo. And people are beginning to ask questions, why these kind of visits? You're not just, you know, almost all presidential candidates have gone around the country meeting with these past leaders. And does the country really belong to them, or is it the people that should matter now?
No, what actually happened is we do not, or we should not see ourselves as enemy, even those who have led us before. Many of them, even if there's a lot of blame being thrown at them, not being able to solve some challenges, that should not again make us enemy. Yes, I might not buy some of the ideology, but the truth is this, they are not my enemy. So what we do, or what I do, let me talk for myself, is to go in and listen to how they were not able to solve some of the problem, how they were not able to tackle this. We need to learn from even those we perceive have not done so well. Yes, learning process is what will help us to become a better leader, rather than castigating those people would say had failed. You can even learn from people that people have envisaged who had failed. If you're going to pick up a job of a presidency, it's very important you also talk to other presidency. Not because you want to govern like them, but because you want to do better than them. Yes, we are in this position. We are in for this job because we know there's a problem. Those who have governed us in the past have tried their best, but their best have not been enough to rescue Nigeria. And if I'm coming in to do better, so I need to study where they have not done well, where they've done well, and get the job done best.
So from your own perspective, what is the biggest problem confronting Nigerians today?
The biggest confronting Nigeria is that we run a country without a system. And many leaders will not tell you this. Any nation, any organization that runs without a system is doomed for failure. You know, today we live in a country where even Nigerians do not know if they are Nigerians. Anybody can become a Nigeria. You know, you cannot checkmate security, you cannot provide employment, you cannot solve your problem if you don't have bedrock data. Anybody can even pick a Nigerian passport. Anybody, look at the porous border. These are because we don't have a system. The first thing I will be doing, beyond fighting insecurity, beyond ensuring that we reduce economic hardship, is to create a system for Nigeria. So Nigeria can be databased, Nigeria can be monitored, Nigeria can be known. We need to know ourselves. Today, what is the process of picking a passport? What is the process of identifying a Nigerian? If you have a family and you don't know your children, anybody can become your children, then you are in a big mess. From 1960, we have those who have tried their best, but the truth is this, we have not intentionally built a country. What we must do is to begin to build an economy, digital economy, to galvanize and to properly interpret our constitution into personal attributes for Nigeria. We'll be building a system for us, and that first will now parachute into fostering security, fostering the economy, and ensuring that corruption does not exist. Corruption will forever exist in an organization without a system. So to me, that is the biggest challenge beyond every other challenge. We talk about education, we talk about hardship, we talk about unemployment. All this must be built on a particular system, which we don't have.
Let's talk about education because you are a player in that sector. What's your own model for revamping the education system in Nigeria?
Yeah, one. You know, when you talk about education, many persons are focused on tertiary educational system, forgetting that there is a problem in the educational system holistically, right from the primary to the secondary to tertiary. We have lack of funding. Today, Nigerian government still budget less than 10% UNESCO benchmark for budget for education. We have less than 6.4%. You know, we need leaders who have value, who could rejig, who could revitalize, who could change the curriculum, who could ensure that Nigerians' mind are transformed. Education is not just giving certificate to people. It's transforming the mind of your citizen to be at par as global citizen or to compete better. We need Nigerians who would, in a few years from now, thinking of going to space. We need Nigeria who can solve the problem of Nigeria. And that can be done by investing massively in our education. You know, digitalizing the education. State like Zamfara education has been shut down for 3 years because of insecurity. We can shut down school, yet education continues when we digitalize our system. When we say, oh, Nigerians are not digitally savvy, we are not saying the truth. We now have young people in the village who operate their phone, who know how to Google, who know how to go to their Facebook. You know, they're already there. We need to start investing. There is not too much money, too much for you to educate your people. If you believe education is too expensive, what we are doing in Nigeria, we are trying ignorance. That is why we end up providing kind of leaders we have today. For me, we need to overhaul the total educational system. We need to encourage our teachers. We need to invest massively in Nigerians. We need to invest in research. Where is our research? In the university, research is supposed to be the link between the industry and the school. We don't even have research. In 2015, Nigeria will become a population of about 1 billion people. Who knows this? Nigerians don't even know. We are smart people, but if you check, many Nigerians, I'm sorry to say, don't have that required knowledge to begin to fix our problem. So we're going to invest. Then to tertiary education, I always say this, though many people find it very difficult to believe what I say, that the reason why we don't have strike in the primary and secondary sector in Nigeria today is because private sector are playing huge percentage of that sector. We have about 80% private sector running that sector. Even to the extent that if government schools go on strike, it will be negligible. What we must do to tertiary education is the same thing. We must begin to engage more private sector in the Nigerian tertiary education. And what happens when you do that is that there will be competition, tuition fee will crash to the extent that some schools will start charging 100,000, 70,000 as tuition fee. We have some federal university today that charge up to 100,000 naira. And yes, so if people are complaining, why do you want private university? We cannot pay. Nigerians are poor. Once there's competition, price will drop. I know this. And that is the model that helps education everywhere in the world. You do not monopolize an industry. that is a national necessity for your people.
So could that be why ASU is able to hold the government to ransom?
Yes, because we have 90% of Nigeria in government-owned universities.
But you know, the president said recently that his administration has invested so much in education. I think over the past 7 years, they've invested more than 6 trillion naira. But it appears as if all of that, maybe some of it goes down the drain because of huge corruption in the education sector, especially in the tertiary education.
It's not corruption. There is no system. When you don't have a system, corruption flies. We are here today in TVC. Imagine if there's no system here. You know, when you are running a mono system, if you don't have a system, a mono organization, if you don't have a system, you can manually curtail. But once a system is multifaceted, you need a system to manage it. Corruption will continue to strive in Nigeria if we do not intentionally build a system around every activities, every function that we do as a nation. So it's not about investing huge trillion. What is the impact of it? So when you invest, it's just like crude oil today. When crude oil is being pumped from a particular terminal to another, you are sure of about 60% of above theft on it. You know, we need to begin. That is the same thing that's happening. So when 6 trillion is being spent, believe me, it's not up to 500 billion that hits the ground. Because there's huge loopholes in the system. There's no system to monitor. There's no reevaluation. There's no monitoring. And everybody is there to eat something for themselves. And what we get by so doing is we get Nigerians who are not educated. We get doctors who are quacks. We get engineers who cannot fix road. We get every Nigerians will just be, and we will not be relying on expatriates to fix our country. That is a country that is hedged for doom. And we don't want that to happen. For us, it's not just by budgeting to education. It's by ensuring that a single kobo that is budgeted to fix education is used to fix the problem. And you know, we have demonstrated that from our program or from the past. Giving scholarships to Nigeria, ensuring that Nigerians, even while ASU is on strike, are educated. A man that have that value, believe me, will sit to ensure that every kobo that is budgeted to fix education is used in fixing education.
One major problem the next president of Nigeria will inherit and will have to tackle will be the issue of oil theft, because you know that the country relies so much heavily on revenue generated from the oil sector. But it appears as if a lot of these are now being frittered away by
even if they've left to other party, it's still the same problem. So if Nigeria can be analytical, not fantasizing, we should know that members of those parties, even those who have left to other party, are part of the problem. They cannot solve our problem. Any man that is affiliated to the political set of those that create this problem cannot solve this problem, even if he's a saint. You know, so they know. Having known that, we need a neutral leader. We need a leader that is coming out of the political sphere, who is going to come in without affiliation to these people and fix this problem.
Should we be looking at the parties now, or the individuals and their capacity, competence, and character?
Who is their friends? Who are the people that will lead with them? Who are their ministers? Is it not from that party? Those people that left those parties, who are their friends? Who are the people with them? It is an ideology. They are the same. We need a neutral person from the outside space to come in and solve this problem. Even if, for example, people watching does not agree, even if it takes 50 years, Nigeria will come to understand this. The Messiah that will solve our problem must not, one person cannot solve our problem, but it's a man that is not affiliated. Our problem, what is the cause of our problem? Like, so much problem. So one, let us leave out these major parties you have called. Nigeria should begin to look at other parties. We have 18 candidates, 18 managers. We have applied for this job. Check our CV, check our track record. Check what we have been doing privately. So many of these people, once they lose election now, they've traveled to London or Dubai or wherever. They come back after another 4 years. What have they been doing after governance? Some of them were governors, some of them were vice president. What, after they left, what have they been doing? That is very, very key. So if you are looking at competence and character, that is where you see it. Not people that will come up to say, when I was a governor, this is what I do. What did you do when you were not governor? That is the edge I have. I have done so much than many of them privately with private funds. And I've been doing this without any, I was not even thinking about politics. It's because of the value. Today I own institutions, even in Ghana or other countries. I'm giving scholarship to other Africans in other countries. Will I ever become president in Ghana? Will I ever become president in Sierra Leone? I do this because of value for human life. If I'm given the opportunity, if I'm voted in, I believe I have a chance. I know I have a chance. All I need is to engage the Nigerian people to discover me and discover my ideology. And we have a long time to the election. We have about 6 months. To you, it might look very short, but you must know that since 1999, this is the longest campaign campaign has already been 3 months after primaries. We have 6 months. To me, it's a good time to engage. It's a good time for Nigeria to have revelation, to begin to know who is right for them.
Yeah, but prosecuting a presidential election is capital intensive, and the candidates and their political parties would need a huge financial war chest. Are you able?
Why am I here? We will try our best to use the fund we have logistically. I believe God will answer the Nigerian prayer. If we continue like this to say we must have money backs, because when they invest this money back, they reap it back with your life, with your blood. Your children will suffer. There will be insecurity. You will not have power to run a 24-hour economy. Is that where we want to go? So we need Nigerians. There's a revolution. I like what is happening on social media, but I believe what is happening on social media will eventually favor the right candidate.
Okay. You are one of the young presidential candidates that have thrown their hearts in the ring. What is it the young people want? Because you know that this group of people will, to a large extent, determine whoever becomes the next president. What is it they want?
One, if you truly follow, I know you are a political analyst. Before this year, Nigerians have been clamoring for a young leader. Yes, and they have been clamoring for, we don't need from these two parties. So immediately some other person understood this. They migrate into other parties and they try to masquerade themselves to look like that person. What Nigerian youth need is, Nigerian youth's voice need to be heard. Nigerian youth need to be sure that our inherent ability is totally tapped by a country. We have Nigerian youth who are resourceful. We have Nigerian youth who are innovative. We have Nigerian youth who are who are so great. They're doing well all over the world. But we have a leader, we have a country that is not tapping the fullness of the potential of the Nigerian youth. Look at what is happening to terrorism and banditry. Who are those doing it? This is not young Nigerians. Have you seen 50-year-old person caught us? They are always between the age of 17 to 20-something years. If the youth of Nigeria can become a tool to destroy, then they are also the tool to develop our very own country. I'm the only youth in this race. You must know that. I'm not just one of the youngest. Youth is, once you are above a particular age, you are no more young. So I represent the voice of the youth in the political scene. I represent the voice of the youth in this presidential scene. Imagine if I'm not a candidate, the voice of the youth would be misplaced or would be missing in this race. So Nigerian youth need to, again, begin to analyze to properly ensure that they understand that this, our cardinal point, which we had some years ago, should remain our focal point in selecting who lead us.
Is there a possibility of some other parties coming together to form a stronger and more formidable force that would maybe face the PDPs and the APCs?
No, I don't
Is it possible, or would you support it?
No, for me, if Nigerians are, and I believe we've gotten to that stage where Nigerians are beginning to be very critical about our situation. We are tired of the kind of country we are living in. We cannot have another 8 years of living too much in darkness, and we begin to see a little and we believe we have light. There's huge problem. Nigerians are tired. There's no need for any formation. Any party now can decide who wins. I know the problem will be structured. You have this money, they will convince you and this. For me, I'm not looking at any alliance. I'm going into this race. I believe I'm going to win, and I know I'm going to win this particular election. So many of you attended our primaries, and you see, if you have been following me, you will know that we already built a salient structure all across Nigeria. Accord will become the party that is going to shock the Nigerian political space when it comes to next year election.
And Nigerians can take that to the bank.
They can.
Okay, then. Well, we'll take a quick break at this point. When we return, we'll continue with the rest of the program. Don't go away. Presidential candidate of Accord Party, Professor Christopher Imumolen. Thank you for staying with us, sir. Let's talk about health now. That is a very critical sector, and we know that there's a big issue in that sector because if you look at the infrastructure, it's dilapidated, and there's also not so much investment in the health sector. What's your own plan for that?
It's been a very a problem that has been there for too long. Yeah. That we do not value our health sector. We do not show concern because we have leaders who spend so much capital flight on traveling abroad to go to get themselves treated. One of the very things I'm going to be doing is that Nigerians, especially those who are in the public office, must patronize our healthcare services. 2, we must invest in human capital development of our medical professionals, doctors, nurses, and the rest of them. It's very key. If we are going on strike in ASU, imagine the kind of doctors we are going to create in the next 4 years. So when ASU resume now, I'm sorry I'm going a little back, they're going to rush the doctors to take a course of 1 year in 2 months. Those are the doctors that will be there. One, before we talk about infrastructural dilapidation, let's talk about the human input, because it's very key. Then investment in it. There are so many. We live in a country that does not have friendly investment environment. We need to start rejigging our investment policy. We need to encourage investors to come in. Nigeria is a huge market of over 200 million people. I can tell you that many international organizations that fly and come in around West African countries to set up their headquarters is actually eyeing the Nigerian market. But the reason why they are not coming to Nigeria is because of the challenges we have. Unfriendly business policies. There are some countries that give total tax waiver, tax exemption, tax holiday to encourage and attract investors to come in, even in the healthcare system. Are you aware that Nigerian visa is one of the hardest visa to get in China and the US for a country that needs investors? We're talking about health. Investors are one of the drivers of the economy. Who are the investors? Nigeria first, then foreign investors. If we are serious about rejigging our system, there are things that we must do. Countries like, I don't want to call it, nearby countries have year of black return. They encourage investors massively into their country. We must begin to show sign that we are serious to build our economy. What we'll be doing in our time is to create an healthcare scheme that will make healthcare very affordable for Nigeria. And that starts by ensuring that we integrate all the hospitals, both national and private hospitals, into a single database so that every Nigerian that is giving birth to at per time is recognized, is known by the government. Yeah. And we are also going to ensure that we invest usually to ensure that the CGO political zone in Nigeria have affordable healthcare scheme.
Yeah. There's also this growing conversation around the rising cost of governance. How will you tackle this? Because people are beginning to say that resources are scarce, but it seems we still spend so much to run governments.
Yeah, I said something. I said the major challenge with Nigeria is the system. Those are boiled down. And many people don't, when I talk about system, what does it mean by a system? I talk so because I have run digital organization. I've run organizations all over the world. For example, I can just with my phone know what is happening in my company in Costa Rica. We need to build a system. So when you talk about cost of governance, cost of anything, when it's going so much high, because there is no monitoring, there is no system. If you build a system around, remember I'm saying this, and many leaders will not even agree because they are not even a digital leader. If you build a system around, you are going to cut the cost of everything to minimal. And you only spend for what is necessary, and you will curtail. Yes, people are going to fight you building that system because Nigeria have so long lived in a country without a system. So any man that wants to come to build that system to curtail and cut the wings of corrupt politicians in quotes is going to face a lot of challenge. But we know how to also navigate around that, to build that system, to enforce it, and to implement it.
All right, then. Thank you.